And then make sure that the brush that you're going to use to paint the food color is not a brush that you use for other colors.
Oh.
Why?
Oh, because
Sometimes if it's not clean, you'll see. I remember painting once with a whole pattern, and then it all showed because I had cobalt in the brush. A little bit of cobalt. See, so this will let me decide, let's say I'm going to do something there, maybe something there. I mean, I'll do more on the other side. I'm just sort of getting this ready for you. All right, and so if I wanted to divide it into fourths, I could start with the holes. So this lets you warm up a little bit too, in case you do want to divide something into some parts, whatever. Just use food color. I just buy and green and blue work best. The pink and yellow, you can't hardly see them, so. All right, so now let's paint something. All right, so in here, if I wanted to start with the pale yellow, and I like to have these too, so I can. So let's say I want something even paler, I can scientifically do it. Now you're going to want to know I don't know what the proportions are, guys. I just do it. Let's use that. What I like about this brush is it puts it on streaky, which I like. All right. Now, whoops. Let's do maybe a little bit. This is the pale copper. Like I said, if you don't use it, you're crazy, because it's such a great color. It also, because it fuses into the glaze, it heals. Let's say you've got a little spot. See, there's one right there. See that one spot right there? If I painted copper there, it would help close that hole up. Does that make sense? It helps to make the glaze fuse. You can put color, of course, on top of another color. And then if you, I sign my work I don't carve my name in, I sign it in. So if you want a skinny line, you're all very interested in that. I usually put Echo Park on the bottom of these. But since I'm painting in here, I'll put, I do that because the old pots, they don't usually have a name, but they do have a place. Did you guys see the beautiful sunset today? Mm-hmm. And all right. This one here, it's just a dark green. It's on most of these. It's just number 16, which is a green, and cobalt. So notice a mix of an easy and a traditional pigment. So this lets me get all the way around, hopefully without running out. Kind of ran out. All right, that's good enough. Now let's do a little more here. Okay, so let's start with this one. So since it's all about brush strokes, you've got to really put them on beautifully.
This one is yellow.
Say it again?
This one is yellow?
This one's a yellow. Mm-hmm.
So is it like underglaze here and you got it just one stroke kind of thing?
One. Yeah. If you put it on too thick, it'll flake off or turn matte. Now this is a deep cobalt. And I like to use cobalt oxide because it's black. It's going to fire deep blue. I'm painting what you're seeing here. Can you fix it? No.
No pressure.
Just loosening you up. Yeah, loosening you up here. This is a dark cobalt or copper. See that? Did you see that? I saw that.
What was that last color you did?
The deepest blue. The deepest blue. And now
So-
this is a deep green.
If you smudge it, you can't clean it up.
No, you have to smudge it more.
Smudge it more.
Yeah.
Make it look intentional.
So it's nice to have your favorite brushes that you know what they're going to do. Oh. There we go. Okay. So what if you I got a drip? So I had to do it again. So now I'm going to do those again. Well, this is what you do. Okay. So it doesn't look like a mistake, right? I mean, that's the deal. All right. So there's, and what about that? Keep your fingers clean, right? Because it'll show. All right. Now I'm going to leave some white. So I'm starting to appreciate white. I used to paint them when there was nothing left. Now, can you see, now, so you want to paint the back first, and then your inside is going to be last. Because think about it, if you painted the inside first, how do you paint the back? Without messing it up. Yeah, there's no way. That's good. All right, let's go with that. Okay, now, so I don't usually paint the backs as complex as the fronts. And I've been trying to go simpler. It's hard for me because I like to kind of go for it, but I've been kind of going simpler. So I'm going to be putting one of my nuclei in the center. So in the center, I just want a very pale wash behind it. Like that. What do you do about the variation? Enjoy it. Right?
You love it.
Well, you have to just sort of go with it. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something that a lot of you won't think of. See, this is a little dirty. That doesn't bother me. I like it because it makes it not so pretty. I like it when it looks dirtier. And that's just me. If you don't want that, don't do that. This is really thin because I just want a little bit of a back. See, there's kind of a yellow here, then it's going to a green. Can we see it on? Let's pull that one over too. Yeah, bring that one over so you can see what I'm doing. These are all done this way.
You're gonna put green on top of it?
Uh-huh. So if I'm painting all day, for example, the last ones, you know, you're kind of tired and you're just sort of on autopilot, and they're always the best ones. You just have to loosen up. Now here's the paint. Well, that's the dark. Yeah, that's the. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna mix it anyway. There we go. So now I'm starting a little, about an inch away from the center, so that I'll have more yellow towards the center and then gradually moving into the green. Okay, I'm gonna give it a little more up here. Can you put on too much? You can get it too wet. And if you start to pull glaze off on the brush, If your brush is looking white, it's getting wet. So cool it for a minute, let it dry a little before you continue. Okay, then let's go with this. What I did like about the traditional Italian pottery is the fact that the centers almost always had some kind of medallion with either a coat of arms or some kind of painting or design right in the very center. So I like to do that, so I'm going to do that on here too. This is just food color now. So I'm just putting in this wreath kind of thing in the center.
So if you mess up in the food coloring, there's nothing you can do about that either.
You could paint with a different color. I wonder how I know that. So I've watched traditional Majorica painters paint, and guess what? You're seeing it. I watched one guy so closely in Mexico, he threw me out. See, he knew what I was doing. He didn't really want to be my teacher. He wanted me to be his customer. So then I bought a bunch of stuff, and then he let me watch him paint. Okay, which was fine. That's fine.
Did you pay for a class?
His work was beautiful, so I wanted to see what he was doing.
So is this the same thing as a
Talavera, exactly. It is. That's exactly what it is.
Brighter.
It's all about. Hang on, I'm looking for my favorite brush. Where'd it go? There we go. All right. So yeah, Mexican Talavera style pottery is done this way. Yeah, and they're using all the same pigments, and they have a white glaze, and yeah.
So what is he doing that was so intriguing?
How was he holding the brush? How many coats was he putting on? Was he working from dark to light or light to dark? I mean, just all of that. Light to dark. Yes, light to dark seems to work better. Now this is really dark, so this is, you don't want to mess this one up. This is cobalt. Since the brush strokes are going to show, make them beautiful. Notice the piece moves, I don't. Right? I stay in the same place. That way I can put the strokes down the same way.
You're not resting your hand on that.
I'm resting my hand on the banding wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's nice because that lets me do that, right? This is, I like this way to do it. And this brush is perfect for putting down this particular stroke. And I try to paint it carefully, but I don't mind the variation. That's what people pay for. They pay for the beautiful variation.
It doesn't look mass produced.
It doesn't look mass produced. And if I make a drip or screw up, I have to make it part of the design. Because let's say I drip cobalt somewhere. If I try to scratch that cobalt off, you're going to see it, guys. Just leave it. Make it part of your design, like you saw me do on the other side.
Like this has faint little drips here and there, and
It's fine. Exactly. So again, think about what this will let you do in your home studio. How much space do you actually need? And you need how many glazes? How many colors can you get? Lots. Yeah. So it didn't come out right, did it? So I've left a little room there so I can bake one more in there. See, I should have counted to see if I had 12, whether I had an even number or an odd number. But that's fine, I just bake it at the end. And I'll leave the other yellow just the way it is, right? Then, let's go in with this and outline it. So no, it's definitely working light to dark.
How come you didn't outline first?
Ah, it works better to outline last. I think that maybe you'll think a different thing. Okay. All right, now let's finish it up here.
This didn't really take all that long.
Well, if
But
I
you kind of
paint-
already have your
it
design
could take a
down.
lot longer if I painted that.
Right.
Okay. I mean, I'm just giving you
Or if
the.
you weren't familiar
I don't
with
want
the
to bore you
design.
guys to death, but you know, it's just a matter of how much time do you want to put into it. And if I'm painting something like this, I do work from the center out, rather from the outside in. But I don't know whether that's a rule or not. So I'm putting it on intentionally uneven. Can you see that? Because I think that looks better that way. Oops. Yeah, it's all right. Now the hardest part is doing these kind of strokes coming out of the center of thing, because the color can flop back inside on you easily. So what am I doing? I'm stirring it to make sure that the color is in the brush, and then I'm making sure I have the right amount on the brush to make the stroke without so much that it drips. Does that make sense? Because what I want, remember my concept here is the universe in the bowl. I want the feeling that this is the Big Bang and the universe is expanding. So I'm just trying to get the same movement that I see inside on that decal. I want the, so this one is painted kind of like that one. More like that one than this one. Can you see that maybe? All right, okay.
In terms of saturation, is it going to be as saturated as
I think
that
it's going to
one?
be maybe like
Or-
halfway in between, my guess. Yeah. Don't run, don't run. Okay. If talking to it helps. And then do I want to put that line? I think I do. So let's get a brush that's going to get me all the way around in one.
The wreath looks pretty with the blue. That's just food coloring, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
See, if your brush is long enough, you can get a skinny line that goes all the way. All right. Okay, now I'm gonna, if I were painting, like say this one, I would have painted all that detail, and that's just glaze on there. I would have painted all that detail before. This one I'm leaving it blank because I'm gonna take, and notice what colors I used. The big problem with decals, how do you integrate them so they're not just the stuck-on thing? It's got to be with scale, size, and hue, color. I mean, what else? So that's the. This was what made me choose these colors, all right? And you see it on that one and you see it on that one. All right, now what, oh, last thing. Rim, note at the very rim, paint that last, or not. If you don't see it, I'll have some white. Can you see areas where I see a little bit of white here? But what I always do is, let's see if that's true. I put copper at the edge. And that's because it helps it melt and smooth out any bumps in the application. So I like to paint the edge last.
And what's the dilution of that one?
Oh, I don't know, 1 to 1. It's that to that. It's that to that much copper and that much water. So that's like 3 to 1 maybe in this one. That's the paler one, all right? Okay, so now, again, without getting messy fingers, like cobalt fingers, that'll show, this is ready for firing.
Pretty.